Backnade! A top House Democrat's transgender kid is arrested rioting with Antifa. Eminem says it wants to back out of the culture wars, and the Biden administration panics over abortion restrictions. I'm Ben Shapiro. This is The Ben Shapiro Show. Well, there does seem to be a bizarre spate of top-level Democrats with weird kids. Now, listen, parents are not always responsible for the sins of their children. I have 3 children, soon I will have 4. Oh, God, I assume that sometime in their life they'll do something I don't approve of, because that is the way of the world. You try to raise your kids the best that you can, and then, whatever sort of happens. But there is a very strange thing that seems to be happening with top House Democrats where and one top Senate Democrat, where their kids end up rioting with Antifa, which seems like a pretty weird thing to be happening. The latest example of this is, according to National Review, the son of House Minority Whip Catherine Clark, Democrat of Massachusetts. Massachusetts, was arrested in Boston for assaulting an officer and defacing a monument during an Antifa riot on Saturday night. Clark's son, Riley Dowell, 23, was detained by Boston police for allegedly spray painting No Cop City and ACAB, that would be All Cops Are Bastards, on the Parkman Bandstand Monument in the Boston Common. Similar language was recently used by Antifa activists in Atlanta who were rioting. While attempting to place Dowell under arrest, Boston police reported that protesters encircled the small detachment of law enforcement and struck an officer. During the arrest of Jared Dowell, a group of about 20 protesters began to surround officers while screaming profanities through megaphones on the public street, causing traffic to come to a standstill. While interfering with the arrest of Jared Dowell, an officer was hit in the face and could be seen bleeding from the nose and mouth, according to the Boston Police Department. Dowell was charged with assault by means of a dangerous weapon, destruction or injury of personal property, and damage of property by graffiti/tagging. He is expected to be arraigned in Boston Municipal Court. Those Antifa protests were apparently sparked in Boston following a fatal police shooting of a University of Massachusetts Boston student, Syed Faisal, in December 2022. During that particular incident, the person who was shot by the Massachusetts police, he approached the police with a short sword. They tried to then shoot him with a sponge round, which is a non-lethal round, and then they had to resort to lethal force. Quick rule of thumb, folks, do not attack officers with a short sword. It just does not go amazing for you. Clark released a statement Sunday afternoon confirming that Dowell, who is transgender and now goes by the name of Riley, was arrested. Last night, said Clark, my daughter was arrested in Boston, Massachusetts, which comes as a shock on two fronts. One, that this person's son is actually their daughter, and two, that their kid was arrested with Antifa. I love Riley. This is a very difficult time in the cycle of joy and pain in parenting. There's definitely a way to put it. A difficult time in the cycle of joy and pain in parenting. This will be evaluated by the legal system. I am confident in that process. Now, you'll remember that this is the same House Democrat. Again, this is a top House Democrat, the House Minority Whip, who just a couple of years ago said that she remembered her middle child, this would be Jared, nay Riley, now Riley, waking up with nightmares about climate change. Here is Catherine Clark talking about this not all that long ago.
Let me tell you what it means to me, coming in as a different generation. I remember my middle child waking up with nightmares over concern around climate change.
Well, why? What did you do? I mean, seriously, that is a what did you do kind of thing, because normally kids wake up with nightmares because they're thinking about death. You know, something bad's going to happen to their parents. Or they saw something in a movie and it was super scary. Or they read something in a book and it was really, really upsetting. They don't wake up with nightmares about climate change unless you are scaring them or exposing them to things they should not be thinking about climate change. Because guess what? Your son, who is not in fact your daughter, is not going to be killed by climate change. Your son would have been fine. Other facts to consider here. It is very odd how many top-level Democrats, how many Hollywood folks, how many people who are sort of the elites in blue society have trans, quote-unquote, children. Very odd, isn't it? We have reached, it seems, a genetic bottleneck that only affects specific groups of children in specific parent groups. It's very odd. It must just be a weird evolutionary quirk. It must be that suddenly Darwin has reached its apotheosis. Like, I don't know how this happened. You know, for nearly all of human history, people who suffer from gender dysphoria were a percentage of a percentage. A tiny, tiny percentage of the population suffered from gender dysphoria. Now, you've got a vast bevy of kids who are suffering from gender dysphoria or who are claiming that they are a member of the opposite sex, but only in very specific areas, only at our nation's top colleges, only if they are the kids of top Democratic legislators, or if they're the kids of Hollywood moms and dads. Very strange, wouldn't you say? It does raise some serious parenting questions. Like maybe you're doing a bad job. Maybe overall, you're not talking about just a weird confluence of events. Maybe it is that you are doing an insufficient job of teaching your kids the things they need to know. Again, not every kid is going to fall close to the tree. Not every apple falls close to the tree. But when you are teaching your kids that climate change is going to kill everyone, and then your kid has nightmares, and when you're teaching your kids that boys can be girls, and then your boy says that he is a girl, I gotta say, it feels like A and B are connected just a little bit. And of course, as I mentioned, this is not the only top Democrat who has had a kid arrested during a riot. You'll remember that back in 2017, Linwood Michael Cain, the son of Virginia Senator and former vice presidential candidate Tim Kaine, was one of 5 protesters arrested after allegedly disrupting a pro-Donald Trump rally inside the Minnesota State Capitol back in 2017, according to St. Paul police spokesman Steve Linders. Cain was charged by prosecutors in St. Paul with fleeing on foot, concealing identity in a public place, obstructing the legal process by interfering with a peace officer. And again, there are issues with parents who are right-wing raising their kids in weird ways and that having effects. But if you're talking about kids who are being arrested rioting with Antifa and also saying they are members of the opposite gender, perhaps the problem is that you're not providing the roles and rules that are necessary to raise a healthy child. Again, I'll say for the third time, it is possible that you do all the right things and your kid ends up the wrong way. But when you teach your kid a thing and then your kid does the thing, that one is kind of on you. And I mention this because there does seem to be an attempt now to treat parenting as though it is a form of virtue signaling to the rest of the world. It is not about raising your child healthy. It's about demonstrating to the rest of your blue check friends that you are doing the right things in their eyes. You are training your children properly as good little left-wingers. And this takes some very strange forms. For example, the New York Times has a piece over the weekend by a person named Heather Kay. The piece is titled, "China Helped Raise My American Kids, and They Turned Out Fine." Quote, "When COVID was raging across the world a couple of years ago, I came across a picture online of an American woman wearing a t-shirt that proclaimed, 'I refuse to co-parent with the government,' a response to perceived government overreach regarding school mask mandates. I laughed out loud. My own kids were, in a way, co-parented by the Chinese government." So first of all, anytime you are claiming with pride that your kids are co-parented by the government, you are doing something wrong. It is not the government's job to co-parent your kids. This is a big enough problem in the United States. We have a vast bevy of people who seem to believe that the government ought to play daddy in the sense that it ought to provide all of the resources necessary to explore yourself. And also, the government ought to play mommy in the sense of providing you the emotional comfort of accepting all of your behavior. This is why you see so many people who want the Supreme Court to give the moral imprimatur to their personal behavior. Because they want the government to be mommy in the sense that it makes them feel good about themselves. And they want the government to be daddy in the sense that it brings home the bacon. But back to this person writing about how the Chinese government did an amazing job co-raising their kid. My work in the fashion industry took my husband and me to Shanghai in 2006, where we spent the next 16 years and started a family. In China, government co-parenting begins in the womb. Well, I mean, it kind of begins in like killing kids in the womb. They've killed tens of millions of children in the womb, or forcibly sterilized millions of women in China over the course of the last half century. People in China are still legally barred from determining the gender of their unborn babies unless medically necessary because of a history of sex-selective abortions, according even to this columnist. And those sex-selective abortions became necessary specifically because China said you could only have one kid, and Chinese people apparently generally wanted boys more than girls, which is why you now have a surplus of boys over girls. That number's in the millions, which is a serious problem for China, its economy, and foreign policy. But, says this columnist, as foreigners, we were exempt from such rules. But I had to accept that my growing belly had become community property, subject to unsolicited rubbing and sidewalk commentary, and that restaurants would refuse to serve me cold beverages. Chinese people ascribe medicinal properties to simple hot water, rooted in hygiene concerns and the belief that it maintains a healthy balance in yin and yang. I dreaded the earful I would get each time I ordered an iced latte that was usually served with a warm smile. In 2008 and 2010, we delivered 2 healthy daughters in Shanghai and faced the choice of all expatriate parents in China, between pricey international schools and enrollment in local schools overseen by the government and with an immersion in Chinese culture and values. We weighed the pros and cons of the Chinese route and the cons. The cons apparently were exposure to Communist Party propaganda and potential social isolation of being foreigners in a group of Chinese students, and they took the plunge. Our stringent government co-parent quickly made its presence felt. The girls' Chinese kindergarten teacher lectured us on everything, including how many hours our daughters should sleep, what they should eat, their optimal weight. Each morning, all the students performed calisthenics in straight rows and raised China's red flag while singing the national anthem. Classroom windows were usually kept open to increase air circulation and prevent contamination by airborne illnesses even during the winter. We sometimes felt as if our children were on loan to us for evenings and weekends to be delivered back to school each weekday. Over time, though, the benefits kicked in. Constantly served up moral, history, and culture lessons on pulling together for the sake of the Chinese nation, our girls came home discussing self-discipline, integrity, and respect for elders. With school instilling a solid work ethic and a total drive for academic excellence, my husband and I didn't need to push the girls to complete homework. The shame of letting their teachers and classmates down was enough to light their fires. And this piece continues, basically talking up the joys of China and the wonders of Chinese parenting. He said, there's no shortage of condemnation directed at China's Communist Party by critics in the United States, much of it justified. But my family's experience in China taught us that immersion in a culture with different answers to everyday questions alters how one sees the world. Practices that used to seem clearly right or wrong took on complexity and dimension. So I see that they're very much in favor of social solidarity and national indoctrination so long as it's coming at the behest of the Chinese government. As an American parent in China, says this columnist, I learned to appreciate the strong sense of shared values and of people connected as a nation. Parenting, like governing, is an imperfect art. Priorities must be set, tough choices made. There's never been a more crucial time for us to learn from one another and build new bridges across the street, nation, and world. Attention to the common good is a fundamental value I seek in an American government co-parent. So they want the government to now inculcate the idea of a common good like the authoritarian Chinese government. And then you wonder why the odd combination of social libertinism crammed down by a top-down government is so attractive to the left. You wonder why that's happening? By the way, the side effects of all this can be seen in everything from the rampant rate of LGBTQ identification that is wildly exceeding what it has ever been in human history. It should be noted, by the way, sometimes you'll hear people make the idiotic argument, this is like left-handedness. So for generations, people suppressed left-handedness in the population. They said, well, it's bad for kids to write with their left hand. And so people were taught to write with their right hand, right? And then that stigma went away. People started to write with their left hand. And over the course of 60 years, the population of left-handers in the United States went up by about 300%. The population of transgenderism in the American population is now increasing at tens of thousands of percent in certain centers of our nation's population. That has nothing to do with the natural movement of genetic drift. That has everything to do with social contagion, and a social contagion for which the left demands both parental and government green lighting. The best parents are the ones who pretend that they are okay with their kids pretending they're members of the opposite sex, for example. Those are the greatest parents. And the way you know they're really good parents is because they say they're very accepting of this, and they teach their kids they're probably going to die of climate change. Also, if they ever got near a church, they would start to shudder and shake. They'd start to freak out. Get to more on this in just 1 second. First, this year, if it's one of your goals to do business with companies that don't hate your guts, check out Pure Talk. Pure Talk is the antidote to woke wireless companies. It is proudly veteran-owned, employs a U.S.-based customer service team, and absolutely refuses to spend money on networks that hate your guts. Not to mention, Pure Talk's service is excellent. They're one of the largest networks in the country. You get blazing fast data, talk, and text for as low as $30 a month. That is probably half what you're paying for Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile. Switch on over to Pure Talk in as little as 10 minutes. Keep your phone and your phone number. Your first month guaranteed risk-free. Try it. If you're not completely happy with the service, you'll get your money back. I've been using Pure Talk for a couple of years now. I use it for all my business calls. It is excellent this year. Make it a goal to support companies who support you. Go to puretalk.com, enter promo code Shapiro, save 50% off your first month. That's puretalk.com, promo code Shapiro. Pure Talk is simply smarter wireless. Again, their coverage is excellent. They use the same tower network as one of the big guys. So what exactly do you have to lose? The answer is nothing. Head on over to puretalk.com, use promo code Shapiro, save 50% off your very first month. Also, you may have noticed that used car prices are dropping, but before you walk into the dealership, you need to check out CarZing. CarZing is completely changing the way you buy a car online. By partnering with credit agencies, lenders, and over 25,000 dealers nationwide, CarZing provides you with everything you need before you set foot into a dealership. You can instantly pre-qualify online without affecting your credit score, get instant financing details, including what your down payment would be, your monthly payment, term, APR, puts you several steps ahead of all the other buyers out there. Once you find the right car at your ideal budget, all you have to do, bring your saved deal voucher with you to the dealership and finalize your next ride. It makes it really, really easy. No going to the lot and being given the runaround by the folks at the used car dealership. Instead, you can find out exactly what you're paying for and what you want to pay for the thing online. Even if you're not in the market for a new car, you should check out CarZing anyway. It's like window shopping. Just poke around, see what's available in your area. Visit carzing.com/Ben today. Skip the guesswork. Find the best deals near you. That is carzing.com/Ben, carzing.com/Ben to get started. Other consequences of all of this. Well, one of them is a massive spike in juvenile crime. According to the Wall Street Journal, a 13-year-old boy ran through the Bronx streets one May afternoon last year, chased by two teens on a scooter. Surveillance video showed him frantically trying to open the doors of an assisted living facility. The scooter peeled onto the sidewalk and sped toward him. A 15-year-old boy riding on the back pointed a handgun and fired multiple times, police say. Nearby, 11-year-old Kaihara Tay stood outside a beauty salon after school, eating chicken wings, waiting for her friends to finish getting their nails done. A stray bullet struck the pavement in front of her. Another pierced her stomach. She was rushed in critical condition to Lincoln Hospital 2 miles away, and she died that night. Violence among children, says the Wall Street Journal, has soared across the country since 2020, a stark reversal of a decades-long decline in juvenile crime. In the United States, homicides committed by juveniles acting alone rose 30% in 2020 from a year earlier. Those committed by multiple juveniles increased 66%. The number of killings committed by children under 14 was the highest in 2 decades, according to the most recent federal data. Now, one reason for that is because there have been so many kids out of school since 2020. As it turns out, when you tell kids not to go to school, this is what they've always pretended. There was a social science sort of misnomer where they said that hot weather causes kids to kill each other. And the answer is hot weather doesn't cause kids to kill each other. Kids are out of school, and thus they're in situations to kill one another. Okay, but over the last couple of years, it turns out that government lockdowns, shutting down schools, combined with the fact that we have an enormous number of missing fathers in American society, means higher juvenile crime. In New York City, police had 124 juveniles committed shootings during 2022, up from 62 in 2020 and 48 in 2019. That's an extraordinary increase. Bronx District Attorney Darcel Clark said after Kaihara's death, quote, "The tragedy here is we're talking about a gunman who's too young to be called a gunman because he's 15 years old. The jump comes amid an overall wave of violent crime in the first 2 years of the pandemic, particularly homicides and shootings that swept through urban and rural areas alike." So, again, things going great for the nation's youngest generation, confused, at sea, and not being given any sort of guide by their parents, who seem more bogged down in their own sense of authenticity and individuality than they are in actually the hard work of being a parent. Okay, meanwhile, in the stupid culture war story of the day, M&M's has now announced that they are changing their policy regarding marketing. They put out a statement yesterday. This is actually pretty hilarious. Essentially, there are enough people on the right who are making fun of them for their dumb marketing campaign. They're pulling their marketing campaign. They put out this message yesterday, quote, "America, let's talk. In the last year, we've made some changes to our beloved Spokes candies. We weren't sure if anyone would even notice. We definitely didn't think it would break the internet, but now we get it. Even a candy's shoes can be polarizing," which was the last thing M&M's wanted, since we're all about bringing people together. Therefore, we have decided to take an indefinite pause from the Spokes candies. In their place, we are proud to introduce a spokesperson America can agree on, the beloved Maya Rudolph. We are confident Miss Rudolph will champion the power of fun to create a world where everyone feels they belong. So, just to review here, basically, M&M decided that they were going to make some of the female candies look fatter so they wouldn't body shame women or something. It was super weird and strange. And then they had two of the female candies holding hands. And then they had their all-female marketing with just the female candies, which, again, as I suggested, might have been transphobic, except they also did it for the peanut M&M. So some of the female candies had nuts. So it was not transphobic, as it turns out. So now it turns out that when you go woke, people get mad at you and they get annoyed. And people on the left now, they're making a big fuss out of this. Oh my God, I can't believe that M&M's caved to this. Why did the right even care about this? Once again, this is a case of face tattoo syndrome. Face tattoo syndrome. You change your entire marketing strategy in order to please people on the left. People on the right notice, and you get mad at people on the right for noticing. I would also like to point out here that I'm not sure why Maya Rudolph is now your get out of jail free card. It's kind of a weird one. Maya Rudolph is funny. I like some of her work, but is she like the new corporate fixer? So next time you're running a car manufacturer and things just start setting on fire, it's like, get Maya Rudolph's agent on the phone. Get her on there right now. You're like, who? You know, the lady from the good place, that lady. Get her on the phone right now. She's the only one who can fix this. And the New York Times has an entire breakdown of what happened with the M&Ms. Quote, M&Ms, the ubiquitous candy brand owned by Mars Wrigley, announced on Monday it would take an indefinite pause from its Spokes candies, deciding the cartoon characters with arms, legs, and minimal facial features were simply too divisive for a polarized America to take. Here's how we got here. In a statement on Monday, Mars Wrigley began with the words familiar to anyone about to have a breakup conversation, America, let's talk. So what exactly happened here? Well, apparently, Gabrielle Wesley, Chief Marketing Officer for Mars Wrigley North America, said in a statement the decision to engage Miss Rudolph as the Chief of Fun and spokesperson for M&M's had been in the works for a while. The original colorful cast of M&M's Spokes candies are at present pursuing personal passions, Miss Wesley said. It turns out there's an appropriate level of sexiness that M&M's figures should display in their footwear. America is divided on how sexy that should be. In January 2022, M&M's gave the aching feet of its two female Spokes candies a break, replacing the green M&M's heels with flats and swapping the brown M&M's stilettos for smaller, more comfortable heels. The decision to some was an injustice. Tucker Carlson said M&M's will not be satisfied until every last cartoon character is deeply unappealing and totally androgynous. Until the moment when you wouldn't want to have a drink with any one of them. That's the goal. Obviously, one of my favorite things is when Tucker tells jokes, or I tell jokes, and the entire left pretends it's not a joke. So obviously that's true. It also happens to be true, again, that the reason that they changed it is because they were attempting to appease people on the left. That's the reason to make the change in the first place. That's why you did it. Stop pretending that you did it for some other reason. The candy's new look was not exactly at the top of Carlson's concerns, but this month, Carlson declared that the woke M&Ms have returned after Mars Wrigley introduced a new purple M&M to the roster, and the others got a new look. The green M&M's got her boots back, but is apparently now a lesbian, maybe. Plus, there's a plus-size obese purple M&M. Said. So we're going to cover that, of course, because that's what we do. So M&M's had to pull it. And good for Tucker, because frankly, good for Tucker. It's funny, and these corporations should know that when you declare a random culture war for no apparent reason, people will notice, and then people won't like it. And I guess Maya Rudolph's agent is all the happier today because more work for Maya Rudolph. Okay, meanwhile, Joe Biden is attempting to redirect his administration. He has made some changes internally to his administration. You'll recall we talked about him dumping his former White House chief of staff. They're saying that it was Ron Klain deciding to leave. That's probably true. But the new person who is coming in is Jeff Zients. Jeff Zients was the COVID czar. You'll remember him from "You're about to have a winter of death, discontent, despair, suffering if you are unvaccinated." That actually did not happen. According to Politico, a longtime corporate executive, Zients had no public health experience and little in the way of expertise in fighting pandemics. He ended up as the White House COVID response czar anyway. Because why the hell not? Let's get Jeff in here. He doesn't know anything. He led a sweeping governmental effort to rein in the virus, fail, spearheaded a complex national campaign to vaccinate the vast majority of the nation, kind of fail, ultimately chartered a path for the nation out of a once-in-a-century health emergency, giant fail. You guys still can't decide whether you have a pandemic on your hands or not. It set Zients, who wants internal praise for his managerial prowess, on course for his next high-profile job as Biden's newest chief of staff. As Biden's top aide, Zients will now be expected to bring his logistical and organizational expertise to a West Wing facing another inflection point. So Zients apparently is going to try to figure out what happens next. But we should point out that the virus is still killing like 500 people a day. So excellent job there. Also, you have totally undercut whatever faith anybody had in the vaccine in the first place by fibbing and fibbing and fibbing again. You've undercut the faith of the American people that you're actually going to be honest about how exactly you go about quashing the virus. You're just going to lie to the American people. So, well done to Joe Biden. Joe Biden appears to be getting actually a little bit more radical over time. So he thinks that one of the reasons he did fine in the election cycle is because of Roe versus Wade being overturned. There's some evidence to this effect. There's some evidence that in Michigan, for example, where the possibility of a serious abortion restriction was on the ballot, that may have driven Democrats to the polls. It's one reason why pro-lifers, there's some divisions among pro-lifers about the strategy to actually utilize in pursuing the most pro-life position. I'm as pro-life as it gets. I am pro-life from point of conception. When it comes to the strategy that needs to be used in order to achieve the most saved unborn children, however, you have to take a look at the various states and look at a different strategy. If you're talking about Mississippi or Alabama, you go for broke. If you're talking about Michigan, what you're probably going to have to do is the same thing that's done in states like Florida. States that are more purple are going to have to incrementally push back the time of abortion and get people used to the idea that abortion is unthinkable at this time, and then you gradually move the time back. If you go for broke right away, you end up with a snapback effect in which the left ends up getting what it wants and legalizes abortion all the way up to a point of birth, which is essentially what happened in Kansas. In any case, Joe Biden thinks that he has the upper hand on abortion, which I think is rather doubtful. Yesterday, he tweeted out about Roe versus Wade.
Photoshopped. Oh, for sure.
It's a nice picture.
4, 3, 2, 1. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Destruction.
Boost.
Destruction.
Let's go.
5, 4, 3.
Alright, same deal as usual. Get the boss down low once he's past 5% melee, just get the fucking skull. I'll watch the first cast. I'm stunning him because he has already killing it. Just kill him, boss. Dead. I got the X Cloud.
Can reposition.
Watch the positioning melee, watch out. Watch out, barrage on you guys. Come on, take a step back, guys. Come on.
5, 4,
I can't get that warp.
2, 1.
I got him.
Give me some fucking heal.
Got him.
Fucking.
Wow.
Stunning. Get him up.
I got it. I got the Zerg.
Boost mountain soon.
Sound like shit.
Boost mountain.
Get him up.
Fucking.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Wow.
Stunning. Get him up.
I got it. I got the Zerg.
Boost mountain soon.
Sound like shit.
All the way through. Watch your debuffs.
I'm gonna taunt man.
Yep.
Those are beautiful kites after that.
Barrage, watch out, niggers. Get fucked, Mill.
Yeah, I think that was honestly the best I've ever seen it.
10 out of 10.
Perfect. Boost mountain.
Sound like
Stop
shit.
talking, or else your mic's fucked.
Stamp roar, stamp roar.
Perfect. I got first stun. Wait, no, I don't know.
Okay. I'm stunning them.
Next, barrages.
are fucking hot.
Good job, guys. Melee, that's how shit should die every time.
Where am I gonna get back?
Watch the ground. Alright, keep pushing. Get her hero. Hero.
Wow, we just.
Baby boost, don't die.
5,
Actually, may not have needed to.
2, 1.
Kill X, everyone. Good job.
Like health taunt.
Alright, get ready. Get the MDs out, be ready.
I'll get first stun.
What side do you want to fight these fires?
Same way we're.
Take them left. Get ready for your bops.
Pop me.
Sack me.
Give me a bitchy.
I gave you sack.
Beat the
Glorious,
outside.
pants up.
Be the outside.
2,
Just keep it together.
Second pass, Fiep, and watch your tonic.
Big boosh, watch.
My wall.
Keep it going.
I'm fine. Keep him up.
One day, I'll get a cat off.
Can I get a grip?
Keep it going.
2 left.
1%!
Kill it!
Come on.
Come on. Come on.
Fuck, come on. 90k, 60k.
That's 600k.
That one.
the other one.
God, that fucking move.
Kill the moat.
I'm
Kill
lost
the
in
moat.
boost.
'Kill it!
300k,
Fucking
come
kill
on.
it.
Come on.
200k.
Jeez, come on, you got it.
come on.
Dick punch something, fuck.
Come on,
Kill it.
Come on, 70k, fucking 70, 30k.
Die.
Stay alive. Good job, man. Yeah. Fuck yeah. That's how we fucking do it.
We did it.
That's how we fucking do it.
Fucking
Yeah. Good fucking job. Fuck yeah. Good job, Ron. Yeah.
That's
Good
right.
fucking, good fucking job. Thank fucking God. Dude, there you fucking go.
Beware.
Exploding fungus.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Breath, watch out.
Taunt.
5, 4,
Big heads up.
3,
Let's go do a green.
Beware.
Watch the fung.
Don't blow up.
Beware.
Cooldown round 1.
Top me off. Gone for a sec.
Someone got next.
It's called tides.
It's group 2.
We're
Go
safe.
right a little bit. Yeah.
Let's
Swap.
Kirby.
Blues up, don't stand dead center.
The spore shooters, everyone.
Second set. No.
Watch the ground. Yeah, Kirby.
More work on the fat.
Get to green in a second. I'll stamp us there.
Kirby Vigi.
Get to green.
Up.
Get that up. Second set of cooldowns. I mean,
Just
things
worship.
second.
Beware.
Group 1.
Call the tides.
It's you, Kirby. Yep.
Watch this tide.
What the fuck?
Taunting ball.
Watch the breath.
I have 2 cooldowns left, don't worry about me.
Rebuff.
Beware.
Oh, tides. We're good here. Just go a little fucking shimmy.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Kill these 4 shooters. Come on.
5,
Making our way to the green.
2,
Ads coming in soon. Taunting at it.
Be on green?
Kobe
Green.
sack, Kobe sack.
This is group 3, right? Kirby, it's you
Yeah.
first.
Yeah, this is you, Dirty.
Don't be funny.
I used mine. Alright, I got it. Group 2 now.
Come on, fungus. Careful, guys. Don't take
I
ticks.
swap.
But my fungus doesn't hurt you.
Boss in front of bots. Just, we're good. Just fucking watch that way.
Dig the
Sport shooters, come on.
Snicker loves call the tide.
Wave again, wave again.
I gave you.
5, 4, 3,
Kill
Get
the
to
sport
green.
shooters,
Monster
come on.
Vigi.
Finish them up. Besting. Get on green. Get that fucking shroom out. I mean, the fucking moss out. Devo, come on.
Finish the ad, please.
Exploding fungus. Watch the ground.
I'll take boss.
Blue, can we get an LOH
Should
on
be
it?
breath. Watch out.
Watch out, watch out.
The
Absorb
fungus
me.
is.
I need some
Don't be
shield.
on him.
Blue's up.
Get blue, like.
Yeah, we're in the
Second pot if you.
I'm good,
Yeah,
man.
burn this shit. Come on. Exploding fungus. Watch the ground. Don't get Kirby.
Green's right here.
Yeah, we can be in both. Don't stand dead center.
Sport shooters, come on. Don't fucking stack
Big
up
fuck.
yet. Everyone kill the fucking ad. Don't stack up yet.
3 of them are stacked.
4,
Not so. Paints up, paints up, paints up.
2, 1.
Good job. Now make your way towards green. Taunting boss in 2, 1.
Stand toward the front. You can be in it without being in the spores.
Comes the ad.
Big heads up, Kirby. We got first.
Who's that?
Loading fuck. Get
Blow
fucked.
up.
Under the ball.
Jesus Christ. Good captain up around.
No, I'm fucking retarded.
Present.
Same fight as the beginning, guys. Stay calm. It's no big deal.
Moss creeping. Call the tides. Wave. Look for the gap.
Group 2. Should be alright.
Let's trade.
Okay.
Sport shooters. Ranged. Moss right in
Moss and
boss's deck.
Got that decay. Be careful. Watch this shit.
4,
Top me off, top me off. Kobe sack.
1.
Get over to the screen. It's on the other side of the room with moss on it.
Watch the decay as we move.
You have my sack.
Group 2.
Come on. Cool downs.
I'm down.
We're fucking bleeding.
Away from the fungus.
Finish that ad, finish the ad.
Fungus, watch out, don't blow up. Watch the mind
Save the
fungus.
res.
Taunting 2, 1. Get behind him, Aries. No breath and a lot of you guys in the front.
Blue?
Four shooters.
5,
Be on these fours.
Be on both of these for this.
1.
Sport shooter in the back behind green.
Blow it up before you guys stack in. Don't stack up yet.
It's in moss, so it's.
It's dead.
You don't have to be in.
Stack in.
Big heads
I'm
up.
gonna take the boss.
Okay. Don't get to Kirby. Touch the ground. Don't be in front. Ad's coming in, taunting it in. Mind fungus, don't be on that. We have 2 warriors down. Noon
should be
and
Kobe's
Kirby,
next.
you guys should be on
Yeah,
this
Kobe,
way.
you got next.
Rape that big ad.
Beware.
I got next.
Don't get
Don't
Kirby.
blow up.
Kobe next.
5,
Score
Range is-
shooters. Range, let's go.
4,
Just a breath.
1.
Moss right on the screen. Right on the screen.
I got it. I got
Tommy,
next.
Tommy.
Spore
This
shooters.
is spores. This will be Dirty's cooldown.
Finish the spores, come on. So they got 2 out in the range, come on, he's doing the cast.
I think I'm wrong, but yeah.
Yeah, it's the fourth group. It's the fourth group.
Alright.
Kobe, you got next.
It's fine. We all live.
Lilith, tanks up.
Wave, wave.
I had used it on that.
Brett, don't be in front.
Kobe, you're next.
Gonzo, sack. Please.
You got Ironbark. You got Ironbark.
Ad's dead. Focus boss. Don't blow up.
I'm giving you a sack. Boss in front of the boss.
Just nuking boss at this point and sport shooter.
Sport shooters.
Sport shooters are up.
There's moss by
Everyone kill spore shooter. Come on,
This
come
will
on.
be cooldown round. Calm down.
I'm gonna take the boss after this breath.
Yep. Keep getting the spore shooter. Alright, now we'll make our way through green. Good job. This is the 9th green, so...
Cooldown round 1.
I don't have mine, so...
I put my hammer down.
Get in the barrier.
I put VE up.
Blue
Drinking.
mushroom. Get that
Oh,
blue
the
mushroom.
guys up.
Watch your feet.
Off the
monsters
blue.
there.
LOH it if you got one.
Watch the way.
Berserk in a minute.
Guys,
Keep pushing
the
boss.
guys
Keep
up.
pushing boss. Keep
The guys up.
interrupting. Keep pushing boss.
Kobe
Yeah,
paint.
Berserk in a minute.
Sack.
I got first.
Kobe
Fuck
sack.
the ad.
Don't cleave
Get
the
blue
ad. Just
mushroom
stay
up.
on the boss.
It's up.
Okay. Watch
Many battle
interrupt.
risks?
Kobe, you're next.
Punch that mushroom.
Get a B-res.
Kobe, you're next.
Kill that mind fungus, please.
I'm on it.
Finish the boss, guys.
Don't blow up.
Burn boss. We got fucking enraged 30.
Take the boss. I'll get the ad.
Swap
There's
it.
moss on our ass.
You're on next. You got next, or Kobe.
Finish the boss.
personals on
this
infesting.
Infesting.
Next.
Every
All
phone.
cooldown.
Everything.
Don't stack on each other.
Moss on the ridge.
Moss.
Somebody get
Burn
next.
the bitch. Burn the
We got-
bitch. We got Berserk in 5.
Keep me up. Keep us up. Tanks.
1 mil.
1 mil. Come on.
Get it.
Oh, God,
Kill
he's
him.
Yeah.
Yes! Holy Jesus Christ!
Wave.
No, I do quick res.
Meet Archer.
suggested, of course, quote, "Today should have been the 50th anniversary of Roe versus Wade. Instead, MAGA Republican officials are waging a war on women's right to make their own healthcare decisions. But this fight isn't over." So I'm old enough to remember when Joe Biden said that he was kind of in favor of Roe versus Wade being overturned in actual state legislation on this matter because he was a Catholic who was sort of uncomfortable with abortion. Now, of course, the entire Democratic Party has gone crazy in favor of abortion. Kamala Harris, speaking of people who have gone crazy over this, over the last 24 hours, she started yelling at Republicans saying, how dare they, how dare they, how dare they call for a nationwide abortion ban. I mean, all we want is a nationwide abortion celebration, like up to point of birth and maybe beyond, but Republicans are real bad. Here's Kamala Harris.
Republicans in Congress are now calling for a nationwide abortion ban.
No.
Some even from the moment of conception. The right of every woman in every state in this country to make decisions about her own body is on the line. And I've said it before and I will say it again. How dare they?
She's so mad. So mad. She's not mad at all. Okay, she's not mad at all. She's a terrible actress. I'll say it before and I'll say it. How dare... She has to get Greta Thunberg to, like, rappel from the ceiling and just say, how dare you, into the microphone, and then just rappel back up to the ceiling. Kamala Harris also, over the last 24 hours, she was trying to quote the Declaration of Independence, and I don't know what it is about the Declaration of Independence and Democrats, but they have a real tough time with it. You recall that Joe Biden recently tried to quote the Declaration of Independence and just started talking about corn pop randomly. Well, now Kamala Harris is quoting the Declaration of Independence, and she forgot a little phrase in it called the right to life. Remember, right to life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Remember that? She just forgets about the right to life. Now I guess it's the right to abortion or something.
America is a promise. It is a promise of freedom and liberty. Not for some, but for all. A promise we made in the Declaration of Independence, that we are each endowed with the right to liberty and the pursuit of happiness.
Well, this is when you miss it. Skip right over that in the abortion speech. You can't say right to life. You're endowed to liberty and the pursuit of happiness. And when she nods like this, you know she's lying. That's when you know. When she starts nodding, all weird. But by the way, remember that time that a bunch of pro-life clinics got bombed and it took the federal government under Joe Biden like a year and a half to realize that or do anything about it? And they pretended the whole time it was not a big deal. Well, now it turns out that pro-abortion protesters gathered outside Justice Brett Kavanaugh's home again to disrupt his evening on the 50th anniversary of Roe v. Wade, which fell 7 months after the ruling to overturn the landmark decision. A video of what appeared to be about a dozen protesters wielding signs in the rain outside of Kavanaugh's home on Sunday was posted by Daily Signal reporter Mary Margaret Olahan. The demonstration outside the personal residence comes after protests in June outside the homes of several justices, so they are back again. Things are going really well. Now, one of the things about the abortion debate that's quite fascinating is how the left will only selectively talk about certain aspects of abortion. So there is an entire essay with full graphics from doctors Erica Bliss, Joan Fleischman, and Michelle Gomez. They are co-founders of the My Abortion Network, and they have a piece in the New York Times called Early Abortion Looks Like Nothing, What You've Been Told. Looks nothing like what you've been told. And basically, the entire article is just a series of pictures of very early stage fetal tissue. And here's what these doctors write. They say, primary care clinicians like us who provide early abortions in their practice have long known that the pregnancy tissue we remove does not look like what most people expect. After Roe versus Wade was overturned last summer, and early pregnancy termination was banned across more than a dozen states, we felt it was important to make this information public and show the images we have seen more widely. It's important to us to counter medical misinformation related to early pregnancy because about 80% of abortions in the United States occur at 9 weeks or earlier. So they then released a bunch of pictures in the fetal tissue from essentially 5 through 9 weeks of pregnancy. And as you would imagine, if you know anything about abortion or fetal development, it's very difficult to see anything, right? I mean, it looks like just clusters of tissue. That is not a giant shock. Although the reality is by the time you get to 9 or 10 weeks, it is actually fairly well differentiated. I happen to know that because I've seen fetal development pictures, including aborted fetuses, all throughout the process. Okay, so that's just a simple fact of the matter. There's a difference between what to the naked eye, a fetus looks like at 5 weeks and what a fetus looks like at 9 weeks. Also, worth noting here, You notice the New York Times would never, not in a million years, print a picture of a 15-week-old fetus after an abortion. Never, ever, ever. Not for $1 million. Not for all the money in the world. Why? Because a 15-week-old fetus looks kind of like a baby. So they would never do that. Instead, they'll just do it at the earliest stage. So let's say for a second that I guess the premise of this article is that we are only supposed to care about the fetuses that look like babies. Okay, let's start with that. Does that mean that at week 12 we can start caring? Can we ban abortion after week 12? What's the rule here? It seems to me that you are shifting the logic of why an abortion is okay. What they're really trying to fight here is the ultrasound, because the reality is that the ultrasounds from the earliest stages, you're talking like from the very earliest stages, 6, 7, 8 weeks, you can hear the heartbeat. You can actually see things on the ultrasound. And so they're trying to debunk that. But there is a media blackout on later stages of pregnancy and abortions and what they look like. An absolute media blackout. This I know for a 100% fact. I know this because a couple of years ago in 2018, I did a midterm special for Fox News. And Fox News is a very conservative outlet, obviously. I did a midterm election special. And one of the monologues I did in the midterm election special is I actually spelled out what fetal development looked like at various stages of pregnancy. And during that monologue, I actually sent to our producers at Fox pictures of what fetuses looked like at that stage of fetal development. It included very graphic photos of what abortions look like because it looks like a baby. If you're looking at a 16-week-old, 15-week-old, 14-week-old fetus, you're looking at something that looks very much like a baby. And Fox said we couldn't put it on the air. Instead, Fox used a bunch of graphics that were essentially animations of what the fetus looked like. That was the best that they were willing to do. Okay, that's their prerogative. They're their own network. I don't blame them for that. But the point is this. If you are on the left and you're the New York Times, you will show what fetal tissue looks like at the very earliest stages, but you won't do it the rest of the time because it might cut against your argument. It's such an unbelievably dishonest argument by the New York Times to do that. And it's all the more reason why pro-life advocates actually should show people as much as possible what abortion looks like, what children in the womb look like. It's why ultrasounds are so damned important and why Planned Parenthood is fighting them so hard. Over the course of time, as science becomes better and better, and as we see better and better into the womb, the Democrats are going to lose on this issue, and they know this, and that is why they are freaking out. Okay, meanwhile, Joe Biden's document scandal is not going well. We'll get to that in just one moment. First, bad news for all of us. We are all going to die. I know, a dark thought here, but this is why you need life insurance. It's just the responsible thing to do. And here's the thing. Your employer insurance is probably not going to cover you very far. And if you lose your job, you lose that employer-based life insurance. So if you have a family the way I do, you owe it to yourself to head on over to PolicyGenius.com. Policy Genius gives you a smarter way to find and buy the right coverage for you and your family. Policy Genius was built to modernize the life insurance industry. Their tech makes it easy to compare life insurance quotes from top companies and find your lowest price. With Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $17 per month for $500 grand in coverage. Policy Genius's licensed agents can help you find coverage options in as little as a week. There are no added fees. Your personal information remains private. No wonder they have thousands of 5-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot. Your loved ones deserve a financial safety net, and you deserve a smarter way to find and buy it. Head on over to PolicyGenius.com/Shapiro or click the link in the description. Get your free life insurance quotes. See how much you could save. It is just the responsible thing to do. You got to make sure your family is taken care of in case, God forbid, you're hit by a falling plane. Head on over to PolicyGenius.com/Shapiro. Get the life insurance you need. Also, I'm wiped. I got to tell you, I am just exhausted, and this is why I am just operating almost solely at this point on Black Rifle Coffee. Black Rifle Coffee Company is on a mission to build a support network for veterans, first responders, and law enforcement by serving you the best coffee you've ever had. Thanks to your support, that dream has become a reality. This year alone, Black Rifle Coffee donated over 120,000 bags of coffee to veterans and first responders while expanding their own team of active duty service members, veterans, and veteran family members. If you want to continue supporting this unbelievable company, head on over to blackriflecoffee.com. Use promo code Shapiro at checkout for 10% off your purchase and your first coffee club order. Again, head on over to blackriflecoffee.com. Go check them out right now. Black Rifle Coffee is roasted by a veteran-led team. Special decree on the razors that bear his name. Sams, he appeared on national TV yesterday to talk about the fact that he can't actually explain how many documents have actually been found or are out there, which is not a good sign.
Can you give us a sense of how many classified documents we are now talking about total across all three locations?
Sure, it's a good question. And actually the answer to it is a little bit complicated because of this point that I'm making about the integrity of an ongoing Justice Department investigation. The Justice Department is going to be looking at all sorts of questions like that throughout their investigation.
So they don't know. The answer is they don't know, which means that we're going to find more of them. I mean, it's that simple. By the way, it wasn't 6 documents that were found the other day. It was like 6 documents plus other materials. It was 6 items. We don't know that those items were boxes. So we really have no clue. The Democratic Party is trying to, they're really breaking down into sort of two separate segments on this particular matter. You have some, like Senator Chris Coons, who are trying to defend Joe Biden. So he was trying to do that yesterday, claiming that this document issue doesn't keep anybody up at night. No document issue has ever kept anybody up at night. None. Okay, Hillary's emails didn't keep anybody up at night. It irritated everybody that Hillary was getting away with it, but nobody was deeply worried that Hillary's emails were actually going to result in like the Chinese having our nuclear codes. Nobody is worried that Donald Trump is selling Chinese the nuclear secrets, and nobody's really worried that Joe Biden was trafficking with Iran or something. That's not what this is about. The thing that keeps people awake at night is lack of credibility and consistency in implementation of the law. That's the thing that people are worried about. I was actually worried that Joe Biden has sitting in his basement in Delaware a bunch of old documents from the time that he was on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. What people are worried about is that there's one standard for him and there's another standard for you. There's one standard for Trump and there's another standard for Hillary Clinton. That is the thing that does keep people up at night. Anyway, here's Senator Coons trying to defend Joe Biden.
How can he say he takes classified material seriously when some of what was found may have been in his home for more than a decade and he seemingly had no idea?
As you get more senior and as the matters that you're handling are more important and occasionally more classified, the volume gets higher. So I do think this was inadvertent. The whole point of having a special counsel is to ensure that and to give the American people confidence in that. But frankly, Martha, I also don't think this is an issue that's keeping Americans up at night.
Again, if this is the new standard, there's not a single issue that Donald Trump had his entire term that kept people up at night. And truly, there was not a lot happening that kept people were like waking up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat. Not unless you were a person who read Mary Trump's book as a devotional or something. You got up every morning and just read a section of Mary Trump while on bended knee or something. And most of us looked at Donald Trump doing what he was doing. We're like, oh, well, I guess he's tweeting something on the toilet again. It was only Democrats who was keeping them up and, oh my God, what are we going to do? Donald Trump's tweeting another thing. That's not actually the standard, as you may have noticed. And again, as I say, there's a divide that is broken out inside the Democratic Party. You've got, again, people like Chris Coons or MSNBC's Lawrence O'Donnell trying to defend Joe Biden. Here's O'Donnell doing that yesterday.
They should still be able to hold these two separate cases in separate silos and still charge Donald Trump if Donald Trump's case justifies charging him regardless of what Joe Biden did.
Yeah, and everything we know about the Biden case is because of Biden cooperation. Every single thing we know about it.
It's so much cooperation by Joe. That's how we know about it. It's because, hold up. It happened November 2nd. We found out about it in the middle of January. So no, actually, they weren't super cooperative with the American people, as it turns out. Well, Politico is reporting on the Gap. They say Senate Democrats returned on Monday after a long recess and after the Justice Department found additional classified documents during a 13-hour search of Biden's home in Wilmington, Delaware. The discovery of those documents, on top of classified materials found in November and December, has created a political headache after Democrats sought to hammer Trump for his handling of classified material. The issue is also an unwelcome one for the party. I hope they found them all, said Dick Durbin. As for the president, Durbin said, he's done well by cooperating every step of the way, but he still has documents, and I don't understand why he'd have those in his personal possession. It's not a full-on rebellion. Democrats are rejecting comparisons with Trump. They argued that unlike Trump, Biden's legal team turned over the documents upon discovery and invited the DOJ to search for more. But Senate Minority Whip John Thune, Republican of South Dakota, says quite correctly, the discovery of the Biden documents neutralizes the issue politically. He said they're trying to attack Trump. Biden was chair of the Foreign Relations Committee. He should know better. That happens to be correct. So this is an issue that is not going away for Joe Biden. It just isn't. And all this is going to carry forward into the debt ceiling debate. One of the questions here is going to be, just how hard can Joe Biden push back against the Republicans? Now, his shtick here is that Republicans should never, ever, ever, ever challenge the debt ceiling. But that is a debt we've already taken out. We can't stop paying it back today. But the whole idea of holding up the debt ceiling is, let's get the government's fiscal house in order so we extend another line of credit. Now, Democrats who think this is crazy, we do this with like the International Monetary Fund all the time. The IMF and the World Bank, when they give loans to a third world country, very often they'll say, you need to get your house in order before we extend the credit to you. And if that country comes back a little later and says, okay, we took out the credit, we spent all the money, and now we need another loan, they'll say, well, before we give you a second loan, we need to know how you're going to restructure your debt. Like, what are you going to do to fix all of this? But Democrats seem to be under the belief, so do the media, that once you take out debt, you now have an endless supply of more debt you get to take out, just forever, for the rest of time. This results in a bizarre set of arguments that are being made by the left. Well, the discussion of the $1 trillion coin is back, I noticed. It's so stupid. Okay, so every so often, there is a theory that the president of the United States should defeat the debt ceiling by coining a $1 trillion coin. Okay, in case you don't understand what this is, Fortune magazine explains the scheme, which proponents say is authorized by an obscure law which would involve the U.S. Treasury minting a special coin and depositing it with the Federal Reserve, a measure that could stave off an impending crisis triggered by Republicans in the House of Representatives, have said they will refuse to raise the country's borrowing limit. Raising the so-called debt ceiling is necessary to cover Congress's existing obligations, hence the appeal of the $1 trillion coin. So basically, they create a coin, and they say this is worth $1 trillion, and they deposit it in the U.S. Treasury. And they say, hey, look at that. We have $1 trillion to pay back our debts. Isn't that amazing, guys? We just created this magic $1 trillion coin. It says right on it, $1 trillion, which is effectively the same thing as just doing Weimar Republic money printing, right? So what exactly would the loophole be? Well, in 1996, the U.S. passed the Commemorative Coin Act, which allows the Secretary of the Treasury to mint platinum coins of any value. It was supposed to be used to print collectibles, you know, like their bicentennial coin or something. And now, commentators like Paul Krugman of the New York Times are advocating that the Treasury Department should print a platinum coin worth $1 trillion. The department would then give the coin, which is essentially unusable, to the Federal Reserve, would then convert it into the cash the government can use to pay the bills it would be unable to cover without borrowing money. It's a really stupid idea. Krugman said that minting a $1 trillion coin would almost certainly be legal, but there are others who are not morons who are being a little bit more cautious about all of that. Gerard Comizio, a law professor at American University's Washington College of Law, said, quote, I think it raises a lot of open legal questions about the Fed's authority to be involved in this kind of transaction. This is arguably not a monetary policy. This is a fiscal problem. That is not the Fed's primary goal. In other words, this is not a problem that you solve. When you have an outstanding debt of $31 trillion, that's not a problem you solve by printing $31 trillion coins and just handing them out to people. That is not the way that works. According to Janet Yellen, she had poured cold water on that idea this weekend. She said, it truly is not by any means to be taken as a given. The Fed would do it. I think especially with something that's a gimmick. The Fed's not required to accept it. There's no requirement on the part of the Fed. It's up to them what to do. They're thinking about the possibility of doing it as a digital coin also. This is also stupid. How about this? How about Republicans come forward with a list of demands in order to actually increase the debt ceiling, and then Democrats negotiate over that? Wouldn't that be the proper solution? You might think so, but we have now reached the stage of impasse where Democrats refuse, like, the most basic demands to even negotiate on issues like this. They just walk away from the table and claim that essentially they're done. Okay, meanwhile, in the ongoing saga that is George Santos, so George Santos, you'll recall, is a newly elected Republican congressperson, if that's even his real name. And now, according to the Business Insider, he partied in drag over a 3-year period. New videos appear to show, despite his suggestion that it was a one-off. So first of all, it's never a one-off. Okay, dudes partying in drag typically party in drag a lot. How many people do you know who are like, oh, it was a one-time thing by the time I partied in drag? Representative George Santos, who initially denied claims he performed as a drag queen, later appeared to admit he'd once had fun at a festival dressing as a woman. Here was George Santos the other day say, sue me for having a life. Sue me for having fun. Well, I mean, we're mostly like angry at you because you completely falsified every detail of your life. And also you are you're a liar in Congress. That doesn't seem amazing.
This photograph that allegedly is George Santos in drag in Brazil at a festival. Listen to his answer when asked about whether he dressed in drag.
Were you ever a drag queen in Brazil?
No, I was not a drag queen in Brazil, guys. I was young and I had fun at a festival. Sue me for having a life.
Well, I mean, you are going to be sued for a variety of other reasons, as it turns out. Apparently, his this story just fell apart on him very, very quickly because there were other people who had seen him dressing in drag fairly routinely. So the list of George Santos lies is really, really long. Just going to point out one thing. Everybody who's saying that George Santos, there's nothing in politics like this, every single thing that Joe Biden has said about his history is pretty much fake. So I'm just going to point out here, when it comes to politicians lying routinely about who they are and what they do, George Santos, I mean, I guess at least he's not president is the best that we can say. Alrighty, guys, the rest of the show is continuing right now. You're not going to want to miss it. We will be getting into Democrats proposing a program of nationwide rent control, plus a big fight breaking out in the House over whether Democrats should be allowed to appoint people like Adam Schiff and Eric Swalwell to the intelligence panel. Republicans are saying, nope. If you're not a member, become a member. Use code Shapiro at checkout for 2 months free on all annual plans. Click the link in the description and join us.
Classic era realms are back, but why? This looks really nice.
Why on earth does my ponytail look like a ferret on crack? I imagine most of the people watching this video are either getting...
Damn, I don't know why this shit is so low all the time. Let me see, can I change this on the volume mixer? Like, what the fuck? Give me a minute. There, maybe that's gonna fix it. Wow, that's way louder. Alright.
Why on earth does my ponytail look like a ferret on crack? I imagine most of the people watching this video are either getting owned by the new Heroic Plus mechanics. Ugh, why does this boss keep healing to full health? Or pretending that Dragonflight is the best expansion ever made because it's a Spyro of a Dragon minigame. And you probably have absolutely no idea about a merging community forming on the Classic Era servers.
Okay.
You see, the Classic Era servers are back in business with a healthy population. When I
Really?
heard the news myself, I had to do what every content creator normally does. Make a level 1 human and check the auction house and
This guy's watched my videos.
pretend to be amazed.
That's good. Okay,
This
I
has
like that.
happened
Yeah,
last-
oh, he should have put that as a thumbnail. And he didn't even have a red arrow? I mean, come on, Meta Goblin's slacking.
Usually due to the closing of the classic Season of Mastery realms, although the population was there before these realms closed, there are people out there who just simply love vanilla WoW, and they like it more than any other version of the game. I know that is a very difficult concept for the World of Warcraft community to grasp, but there's actually these things called human beings who have an organ inside their head called a brain, and this brain...
That's not true. I just raided Ulduar for 5 hours. I can confirm that part is not true. I thought the same thing he did. Nope.
Brain is capable of containing a consciousness able to form its own opinions, tastes, and preferences. And therefore, different people enjoy different things about different video games. Some players prefer the slow burn adventure of vanilla WoW leveling, and with Season of Mastery done with, many of these players, well, they needed a new home. Therefore, many transferred their characters to Classic Era realms rather than the Wrath of the Lich King Classic realms. I know there's vanilla private servers out there, but not everyone likes playing on them. At least when you play on an official server,
You know it's not going to get shut down, or people aren't buying shit in the game from, like, developers, yeah.
you know your character is safe.
Yeah, it's not going to get deleted.
When I logged into the largest populated realm cluster, the Firemore cluster, there were many people running around Stormwind. It's not packed with people.
No, it's
But just
not.
look at the footage, guys. This is a very active server, and the auction house had...
I mean, it's more active than most retail WoW servers because people are in 17 different phases for 18 different people.
7,600 items listed. I saw a number of people forming low-level
That's a lot,
dungeon
yeah.
groups, high-level dungeon groups, and there was also a pre-made Arathi Basin event being advertised, and lots of people...
I wish that they would make Classic WoW, like just Classic WoW, then make it free to play. Like that wouldn't that be so crazy if they did that? Like I would be so happy if they did that. No infinite bots. Have I got news for you?
wanting to do the Lunar Festival World Boss. I also joined
the reason why is the same reason why like a drug dealer gives somebody crack for free. Is because you get them addicted, then they spend the money. Like if somebody plays through all of vanilla, they might want to try out Dragonflight. They might want to try out Wrath of the Lich King. They might buy something from the Blizzard store. Yeah. That'd be great. Yeah, I mean, I would even be okay with, and you guys can tell me if I'm overstepping here. I would be okay with a effective, like, I don't even know if this would be a good idea though, like, because you could say, like, you could add in handicaps that, like, for example, free to play doesn't acquire rested experience or something like that. But, like, I don't even know if I'd like that. Like, I feel like classic WoW is good because it doesn't have any of that shit. So it's like they could do that to monetize it, but I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, I know that if they made WoW Classic, just Classic, free to play, I think that would really impact and change the game a lot. Because you could get people to play and log in, they wouldn't have to worry about upholding a sub. It's like, I almost think that Blizzard should do it just to have the data. Just to see, like, what would it be like if we did this? Like for example, like, what if they did the next season of Mastery was free to play? I don't know. I would love that.
The Classic Era Discord and saw a number of guilds recruiting and events being posted. It's a very small, close-knit, active community, and
or at least, like, maybe like that you get up to level 35 or something like that, or 45. I'd say 35 personally. Like 30 or 35, maybe 39 and a half. And you have to buy the game or, like, pay a month sub in order to get into it. I don't know. Like, I think that would be so big for WoW.
Not a dead community. If you want more,
I mean, to be fair, that's like 3 or 4 messages from like 2 people each day. Like that's pretty much dead, I would say.
Info on how to get started on Classic Era Realms. It's definitely not too late to start on a Classic Era Realm. The content has been unlocked for a very, very long time, and many people are joining the server as a new, fresh player all the way from level 1. And if you want to get started, I'd recommend checking out the Discord, which I will leave linked in the description. And here you'll be able to find out what servers and what faction are best for you.
If they did a new Classic Era server, or a new, like, Season of Mastery server, I would be totally fucking down to,
Because there is a lot of guilds recruiting on there, and a lot of people advertising for certain
guys,
events.
it's Classic WoW. What do you expect?
Just before I jump off the video, guys, normally when you subscribe to a channel, you get absolutely nothing in return. But on my channel, we have many subscriber-only videos and guys.
Imagine being able to subscribe to a channel.
Out the channel page after you have subscribed. But anyway, until my next video, ciao.
What's up, everyone? It's Endymion. In this video,
I was gonna watch this. I'm not gonna watch it today though. It has autoplay since it's on like a track here. I actually really want to try this out. I think this week I'm gonna log on to one of the Classic Era realms and just see what it's like. Because I do think that there are some things that Classic WoW does better than anything else. It kills me every time. Everyone's hyped whenever they announce something, and a week later everyone leaves. But like, that's not what happened though, because like Classic WoW was really popular for a really long time. Hardcore? Why would I want to play that? That's not even fun. Like, it's not fun for me to play hardcore. That just means playing like a pussy. Yeah, like that's it's just it's not. What if I lag? What if I get DC'd? What if there's like a layering problem and I get invited by somebody and I get layered onto another layer, and you know there's like a mob there and I get aggro on it? Like, fuck that. Yeah, like that's not it's just not fun for me. Yeah, layering problem, lag. Yeah, yeah, and what if I make a mistake? Like, why do I don't want to play a game where like I'm constantly fucking like hyper focused on making a... Bro, if I want to play a game where I'm hyper focused, I'll go play Valorant or like League of Legends or something like that. I play like a game like WoW to relax. Like, yeah, play CSGO if you want to hyper focus like that. I don't want to do that in WoW. That's just, it's not fun at all. I don't think there's anything fun about hardcore WoW. It adds no value. It's boring. I'll link you guys the video again. There it is. This is a Meta Goblin video. You want so badly for WoW to be an esport and it never will? Yeah, it's just like weird. Like they just like this fixation on trying to make WoW as hard as possible, man. Holy fuck. Yeah, you're wrong. No, I'm not. That's why nobody plays it. Like, the reason why you think a lot of people play the hardcore stuff is because all the streamers do it. But the only reason they do it is for content. Because it adds stakes to the content. It's like whenever I do like a Dark Souls Deathless run, it's good content because it has stakes. But this isn't something people want to do.
That's not true. That's not true. Come on, Asmon. Oh, come on.
So delusional, I wouldn't be able to play hardcore because you get perma-griefed? I get it. Just say it's not fun because you don't like it. What are you fucking... You gonna call me delusional? I'm gonna ban you. Get the fuck out of here. Of course I know I'd get griefed. What do you think, I'm stupid? Of course I fucking know that. I'm not delusional. It's because saying it's not fun. Yeah, because it's not. Just because like 300 or 400 people do something doesn't make it fun. Holy shit. They play hardcore to sell leveling guides? I don't know about that. I think they do it for content. It's cringiest message I've ever heard. Yeah, it's just so stupid. Like, yeah, what do you think? You think in classic WoW I wouldn't think I was going to get harassed? I mean, come on. Give me a break. Yeah, I really, really think it would be cool if they were able to make these classic era servers free to play. Even for like a month or something like that. Like, just give people the option to try the game out for free with no friction and just see what the player base is like. I would be really curious. This is the exact same argument in PoE. Yeah, like, I don't play PoE hardcore because it's not fun either. Like, that's a job. Like, whenever something is like, whenever you put stakes on something and pressure on something, that's a job now. Now it's a job. To me.
This is what we need. Look at it. Look at it. That is disgusting, mate. You've never seen filth like this before, mate. We have 2 hunters, and they are blasting, to be fair. We just don't have an immense amount of AoE. Making your palms sweaty. And we've got massive Chad. We've got pub. What a name. We need the shoulders to drop. The only thing is, though, if the shoulders drop, everyone is going to want them. There's 4 people. I'm going to have to beat 4 people. Or 3 other people. A quick sip, quick sip. Oh, that was horrible. Have any of you ever used a metal straw before? It just hit my tooth. That felt weird. I don't like that. If we can get the shoulders. Whoa, mate. I almost want the shoulders as much as I want the sword. I need to pay attention.
You know how much health he has? He has 3.4 million. So if he didn't heal, he'd be dead. Arbalest, you're gonna need to keep aim shot up on the boss all the time, even during the ad. Ask your hunter why he's using rank 1 skills. Arbalest, what rank is your aim shot? Let's go on. You don't have a rank 1 aim shot, do you? Arbalest is going to need a summon back into the raid.
So after hearing music by that nightclub, you pass by and go, nah, we get some background on our futuristic setting. Oh, so we colonized the moon this year, huh? Why am I always the last to know these things? Christ, this is always what happens when I ride my hoverboard too much. And seeing how this is from the director of Mortal Kombat, I expect to see some pretty bad CGI coming up here. Oh, yeah. Taste that mediocrity. Oh, that's making Shark Boy and Lava Girl look like Lord of the Rings right now. Hold on, I got some even more great effects that I can find in here. We get a pretty cool looking image, which it turns out is just the dream of our main character, Sam Neill. And naturally, what you just saw plays no part in anything whatsoever. Christ, I really hate these dream sequences in movies that don't tie into anything. They're the equivalent of that girlfriend who tells you all her dreams without relating it to the situation.
Oh my god, it's such a weird dream last night that things were floating and this guy was floating and I was floating too.
Weird.
Oh my god, you should put that in your movie!
No.
Come on, it'll be fun!
No.
Lynch's wife says that he puts her dreams in his movies.
All right, fine, it will get you off my back.
Oh my god, I had a dream you would say that.
We then see Neil on a space station, where the cinematography takes the flushing toilet approach as he intercepts a ship known as the Lewis and Clark. Yeah, they were gonna call it the Sacagawea, but even in the future, nobody cares about Native Americans. The captain of the ship is played by Lawrence Fishburne, which, judging by his acting, makes me wonder more and more if this was just a really bad prequel to The Matrix.
We were taken off a well-deserved leave and sent into Neptune space. We are now 3 billion clicks from the nearest outpost.
What if I told you you were starring in shit? Now, of course it couldn't rip off The Matrix because it wasn't around yet, but you know what had been around for a while at this time? Alien. And tell me if you see anything, fucking anything that has the tiniest bit of an alien feel or look. Actually, let me make this easier. Tell me if there's anything that does not have an obvious alien feel or look. Even the truckers in space thing. In Alien, it worked because that's what they were. They were coming home from a mining job and then suddenly they were woken up to check out a disturbance. Here, these people were specifically hired to locate an abandoned ship, and yet they act like they have no idea about anything space related.
Use a rotating magnetic field to focus a narrow beam of gravitons. These in turn fold space-time.
Layman's terms.
Fuck layman's terms. Do you speak English?
No, sorry. Allow me to explain using porn.
A piece of paper represents space-time. It folds space so that point A and point B coexist in the same space and time.
Tell me more about this space thing.
See, you can't actually do that.
The law of relativity prohibits faster than light travel.
Yeah, come on, buddy. We're mere astronauts. It's not like we're smart or anything.
I built it. It creates a dimensional gateway that allows it to jump instantaneously from one point of the universe to another light years away.
How?
Well, it's difficult to... It's all math.
Yeah, what do you think we are, rocket scientists? Oh, wait, we are. We should probably know all of this. In fact, there's technically very few scientists on the voyage at all. Wouldn't it have made more sense to send more of them in? Or anyone who knows what they're fucking supposed to do?
Skipper, I got a question. Sure. What the fuck are we doing way out here?
Oh, perhaps the good doctor will be kind enough to tell us.
We wanted to keep it a surprise. Now, I know you're all qualified to handle top secret information, but I saw one of you take a selfie with Sophie's birthday cake, and, well, the entire surprise party was just ruined. This calls for another completely pointless scare.
I'm waiting.
I almost wanted to convince you that was a real scream, but then halfway through I was like, fuck it, it's Event Horizon.
Alright.
Christ, how many fake-out dreams can a guy have? Oh, what a horrible dream. Well, at least I'm awake now. That's it! I'm sticking with reality! Come on, Cheshire Cat! When they finally get to the Event Horizon, Fishburne navigates them in with his incredibly silly hanging chair.
10,000 meters of closing, sir.
He looks like a rocking old lady. Why does he have that?
Where is it?
The scope is lit.
The other people have a ton more buttons to push. Why does he get the jungle gym furniture?
I'm a spaceman.
After connecting safely to this incredibly immature music I'm now putting over it, they send in a probe to scope out the area to make sure it's safe for them to, or are they just going themselves?
Place is a deep freeze.
Oh, yeah, deep freeze, huh? Is that why we can still hear the water moving as it floats by? Maybe they mistook it for a room temperature freeze. So, yeah, seeing how Neil is the designer of this ship, you have to wonder what the scientific relevance is of why the fuck it looks like Bowser's castle. No, the doors need teeth, that's very important. I know a reflective tunnel seems pointless, but it's scientific, I swear. Don't ask me why everything looks like Marilyn Manson's auto repair. It's space stuff, super technologically advanced space stuff. Do I have to explain with another pin-up poster? Why does nobody scream right in this movie? That sounded more like a dog barking than a woman shouting. But the dimensional black portal hole thingy starts acting funny as one of them takes a closer look. No, don't touch it! You'll be wearing emo haircuts and doing tap dancing in bars for weeks!
Oh shit! I'm gone!
He gets sucked in, but they pull him back only to discover things aren't making much sense. I mean, more than usual.
It was liquid, and the whole cord turns south.
It would mean the gateway was open.
Well, then that's it. That's it. That's the gateway was open. That's
The
what
gateway couldn't be open. Mr. Cooper's delusional.
What? He would have to believe him. There's no way he could make that up. Hello?
What happened here, Doctor?
After seeing a typical Arby's eater, the rest of the crew is realizing they start to see things that shouldn't logically be there.
Peters!
Seriously, did the cast take screaming lessons from Marmaduke?
Peters!
Billy, be with me. Forever.
You know, I just realized ghosts aren't very scary when they have a little bit of attitude on them.
Forever.
And I don't mean forever, like when you promised to rub my feet forever. I mean forever! Of course, as scientific astronauts, they come to one logical conclusion.
What are you telling me, that this ship is alive?
You wanted an answer, and it's the only one I've got.
Wow, that was like your first answer. I mean, Star Trek had like 5 episodes where they hallucinated stuff and they always had a logical conclusion for it. But you're like, boom, ship's alive, we gotta sacrifice a virgin. I'm looking at you, Eddie Romaine Franco. Speaking of which, he wakes up from his sleep and wanders in a daze towards the airlock to kill himself. But to be fair, that might be because everybody on the crew apparently insists on calling him Baby Bear.
No, Baby Bear, come on.
Okay, Baby Bear.
Is that really gonna put him in a better mood calling him that? Come on back, Baby Bear!
I told you I hate it when you call me Baby Bear.
Alright, we'll call you Smoochie Kids! Buttercup? Honey Lemon? I know! Shrinky Balls! You loved it when we called you Shrinky Balls! It's unavoidable. Let's see, I'm looking for a Mother of God. Mother of God or Lord have mercy? Lord have mercy or we're doomed. Yes, I'm gonna say we're doomed. Let's see, we're doomed, and stop!
God help us.
Oh, God help us, man. With such memorable lines like these, who needs effort? They finally find a video of what happened to the last crew, which leads to the Scoopy and Shaggy method of confronting the unknown.
We're leaving. On my ship, you can't just leave her. I will launch TAC missiles at the event horizon until I'm satisfied she's vaporized. Fuck this ship.
Again, I refer all rationale of scientific discovery and exploring what the world has never encountered to fuck this ship.
You can't leave. She won't let you.
But Neil, quite bizarrely out of nowhere, suddenly decides he's the bad guy.
You just get your gear and get back on the Lewis and Clark, Doctor, or you'll find yourself walking home.
I am home.
I'm quite uncharacteristically deciding I belong here. Anakin Skywalker's turnaround has nothing on me. From here, tons of things go wrong. Neil sabotages everyone, he blows astronauts into space, he pulls people off strings. It all goes to hell. And yes, I guess you can take that literally. But one astronaut seems just mildly annoyed that he's stranded out in the middle of oblivion.
Where the fuck am I going? Why is this shit gonna happen to me?
Man, I had plans tonight. I was gonna marathon Bob's Burgers on Netflix. But it's okay, because he has a rocket pack in order to get him back.
I gotta blow my air tank. I'll blow my air tank.
You know, can we just have a sign that reminds us that this is supposed to be a scary movie? Good, because it was starting to look like an episode of Homeboys in Outer Space. And yes, that was a thing. Don't Google it. To make things worse, Sam Neill has pretty much transformed himself into a video game villain, having clawed out his eyes and revealed that this plot has pretty much gone the same direction as Doom.
I created the Event Horizon to reach the stars. She tore a hole in our universe, a dimension of pure evil.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to take him seriously when he looks like that. He's kind of like that haunted house attraction you walk by and say, "Oh, gee, I know you're trying. Just keep hanging in there. You'll scare somebody." As one of the astronauts proves herself totally useless, Rocket Man lands on the window and Neil shoots at him because, like everyone in this movie, he tends to forget exactly what space does. They then come across a ridiculous blood scene that makes The Shining look downright subtle.
How about a nice Hawaiian death?
Things get even worse when literal ghosts from the past show up.
You let me burn!
Just flash it, just flash it. Christ, I've seen Simpsons Halloween specials more scary than this. Oh, come on, I have that punch sound effect! But Neil somehow turns himself into Paper Cut Head and reveals that the ship has, in fact, opened up the gates of hell. Oops.
Did you really think you could destroy this ship? She's been to a place you couldn't possibly imagine.
I know. To hell.
Wow, this sheds much more light on that passage describing hell in the Bible. I always knew they should have left that part in. As images of his friends suffering in hell play over their incredibly disinterested acting.
No, you're not in the court. I watched him die.
And you are all coming with me.
Yeah, tell me about hell in a minute. I'm checking my Instagram. They have the only thing that could possibly make talks of eternal damnation even scarier. A fist fight. We can make it even scarier if we add the Star Trek music. So hell was surprisingly easy to beat, as Fishburne stays behind with a black hole that apparently fixes itself and the galaxy has a little poop. Our surviving astronauts think they've made it out okay, but did they?
Rescue team, we're safe.
Okay, I need it now!
We're safe.
I honestly don't know. Is that how the movie ends? I guess so. You know, there's a difference between leaving a movie open-ended and just throwing in an evil shrug. You could be like, so movie, what did you mean by that ending exactly? I mean, are they still in hell or did they get out? Because either way, there's a lot of plot holes that don't add up. You just didn't know how to end this, so you rated M. Night Shyamalan's throwaway twist, didn't you? Yeah, okay, let's wrap this up. I'm not entirely sure why this film has a following because, honestly, it's a little too boring to even warrant one. Everything is just paint by numbers in terms of phoned-in space horror. However, I don't always hear people talk about the version that we did get, but rather the version that we didn't get. Apparently this movie was really edited down, and there's a rough cut somewhere that's a lot more gory. So gory that I'm just gonna put the time code here in case you're squeamish.
They're mere grunts fighting an entire army. I am Prince Vegeta!
Get him, Dad!
I am the ruler of all Saiyans, even you, Broly!
Then please try your best to make me kneel before you. Ah. You are all talk and no action. A true piece of trash.
In Dragon Ball Z Movie 8, we were introduced to Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan who is a seemingly unstoppable force who ran roughshod across the southern galaxy, destroying a multitude of planets in the process. None were truly capable of opposing him. That is until he encountered the Z fighters on the so-called new planet Vegeta. Goku and friends faced off with Broly and it was a hopelessly one-sided fight.
More power! Right now! I am a prince, the prince of all Saiyans. Why should I give my power to a Saiyan that ranks below me? Tell me why! You lasted longer than I expected, but your final hour has arrived. Vegeta, what are you waiting for? You're our last hope. Give me your power! Fine, just take it! But Kakarot, finish him now! What? Where is he getting all this energy? Your hour has arrived! Don't think this changes anything. Get him, Goku. Take him out, Father. No matter how much power you absorb from those idiots, it won't be enough to kill me. We'll see about that. You'll never really know for sure until I try. Now the real fight begins. I am not gonna let you get away with this!
Neil deGrasse Tyson talking. We're here with
Yeah.
Steve Kirsch, and he's going to talk about the vaccine with Michael Bet David, who does a great podcast. I've been invited on, and I haven't been able to make it, but we hopefully soon, fingers crossed. Here we go.
Anybody,
I'll
you're
bet-
right.
I'll
If
bet
you want
if
to
I
get an
reach out
abortion,
to-
get an abortion. If I want to get the vaccine, I get to choose. So you can't force. If I can't force you to get an abortion, you shouldn't be able to force me to
Because
get
it's
that.
not about you. It's about people you interact with, and that's the social contract.
Aren't they
of-
vaccinated? So what? Aren't the people I'm
It's
interacting
not.
with vaccinated? Why do if they're vaccinated? Why do they have to fear me if I'm unvaccinated?
Vaccines work. Everybody, Jimmy, everybody knows it's safe and effective, and it keeps you from getting It keeps you from dying.
So here is let me play this without stopping, and then we'll come back and make fun of them. Here we go.
Your own body. Your own body.
If you want to get an abortion, get an abortion. If I want to get the vaccine, I get to choose. So you can't force. If I can't force you to get an abortion, you shouldn't be able to force me to
Because
get
it's not about you. It's about people you interact with, and that's the social contract of public health.
We don't even know if the vaccine worked or not at the time.
Yes, that's what the trials are, dude. That's why these trials. What, are you missing data out
But
there?
let me ask you a question. Are we saying only one type of scientists are right?
No, we're saying that the system in place.
The 16,000 that signed that.
No. The system in place to test vaccines, there's an entire system that's in place. That with review boards and all of it.
How dare you question the system?
Yeah.
We've got a system. You can't say anything bad against the system. You're going to turn some of your brothers against the system.
Yeah. Yeah. And Neil has no numbers to back it up with any data whatsoever. There's no data on any of this stuff, Neil.
Listen to how he ends it. Here's how he ends it.
That's in place. Now what you can say is, I have a better idea than all these review boards and all these agencies and the CDC. I have a better idea. Here's what you should do, and that would have made everything better. Okay, you can
like early treatment.
Well, it's called the Great Barrington Declaration. Fuckface.
Yeah, early treatment.
So there are a lot of people had
all that.
People did have those ideas.
Yeah, they absolutely did.
But what I'm saying is, in a case where you can contaminate someone else, it's not about you. It's about the collective.
You're assuming
health.
You're assuming because somebody can take the vaccine, won't get COVID. Which, by the way, I don't need to play the clips for you to see it, where everybody said, "Hey, if you get it, you're not going to get. If you take the vaccine, you're not going to get a Rachel Maddow, Joe Biden. I can give you Fauci. I can give you fit." And you've seen these clips before. It's not like you've never seen it before.
Yeah, what happened?
They were wrong.
Hold on. The strain evolved.
So there he is spreading medical misinformation at the top of his lungs with lots of histrionics. So that's supposed to be a scientist who's talking about the system like that. That's not a scientific debate if you have to throw your arms around. That's what I'm supposed to do. I'm an emotional pothead comedian. I'm not a scientist. So when he does that, he's wrong. And he's trying to bully and bluster. And that's exactly what he was doing. And he's wrong on every piece of the science he just said there. He's wrong. And why is it a pothead comedian knew he was wrong? I knew this a year and a half ago. He was wrong. It's a year and a half later. He still doesn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus, so he's realized, the virus is mutated. Well, I think that means we need to go and redo the trials to recalculate the numbers to find out whether there's a benefit or not, because maybe I'm just killing myself to not save anyone. Ooh, that's not a societal benefit. And so you go to Neil and you say, "Hey, Neil, look, if I kill you right now, you're going to save 10 lives. Can I shoot you? Can I shoot you now, Neil?" It's how science works, right? It's community benefit. If I kill you right now, you're going to save 10 lives. Can we do that? Can I pull the trigger? And what do you think Neil would say on that one?
I was going to bet he would say no.
And then I'd say, no. But Neil,
but it's about the collective.
It's about societal benefit, Neil.
About the collective, Neil.
Collective, Neil, Neil should be saying, "Shoot me now! Come on!"
That's right.
I mean,
it's about the collective. It's not about you, Neil. It's about saving other people.
On this.
So, Anti-Grifter says, imagine watching a credentialed physicist flail his arms around when proposed a simple question. This is what went wrong the past 3 years, and appealed to authority instead of sound logic and reason.
Yeah, and data and facts.
That's right.
Risk-benefit calculations. Exactly.
What Brett Weinstein says is people don't understand how a famous astrophysicist like Neil deGrasse Tyson could be so wrong about COVID vaccines at this late date. As a COVID dissident, it doesn't surprise me at all. I feel for the guy. Huge sums were clearly spent to keep people like Neil deGrasse Tyson in the dark. Huge
Yeah.
sums of money, he's saying. Now, I don't know if he's saying that Neil took money to push the vaccine, which a lot of celebrities are doing, like Michael Phelps and people like that are taking money to push the vaccine. It sounds crazy to me. He had all the, this is a question that I have. So he had access to exactly the same information as me. All he had to do is make the slightest effort before pretending to have authority on the matter. And he didn't. That's what kills me.
Yeah. This is why he won't debate me. This is why he hangs up the phone when I call him. This is why Neil will never debate me, because he doesn't want to be outed. That's the biggest fear.
So you emailed him for a debate. He didn't answer back. You texted him for a debate.
Oh yeah, I can show you. I can show you the.
So you called, and then you left him a voicemail. He didn't answer, and then you called him on the phone. He answers the phone.
Yeah, he picked up the phone. I was surprised.
And you say, "Hey,"
I would have thought he sent me to voicemail. He picked it up, and then he realized what he had just done. And he hung up the phone. Here's the. Here you can see the whole conversation with him. Oh, actually, let's see. Oh, look, he blocked me. You can see that he blocked me. Can you see this?
Yeah, I can't really tell.
Look, it changed from blue to green.
Blue to green. Does it
look? I don't know if you can read this, but
I thought I thought blue to green meant that if it's blue, you're on a cellular line. If it's green,
no, it's blue. He's got an iPhone.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I was able to iMessage him, and then he blocked me. So now my messages came in as green because he blocked me.
Oh,
and the thing I wrote him. It says send a text message. I said, "Wow, you just hung up on me. That's not the best way to resolve important scientific questions, is it?" So
nice. So here is what problem is. Neil deGrasse Tyson, like many scientists, is indebted to his benefactors. His science is not science. It's political opinionated science. It's the way for all his science, including his disastrous, wrong-headed climate analysis, which makes less sense than his vax diatribe. Now, this is why the reason why I included this tweet is because I think what this COVID is doing to people and all the lies we've been told, and people like Neil deGrasse Tyson, who everybody used to thought they could trust, and now we can't. It's making people question everything. I bet it's making some people like this person question climate change. I bet you that this amount of lying that has happened, I mean, after Russiagate and then after this, I bet you there's people, I bet you that it's making them question everything. What do you think?
Yeah, we should be. In fact, there's a guy... he's known as El Gato Malo. Do you know him? Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yes.
He writes the Substack. You know, he's a little kitten and he can't capitalize, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we had a nice conversation today, and one of the topics where I wanted to find out what he thought about global warming, and he said that he's done a lot of work in that area, and I won't reveal the specifics, but he basically thinks that we're in a cold period right now, and we're coming out of it, and that the climate has actually been a lot warmer in the past than it is now in terms of the parts per million and the CO2, and of course CO2 is a greenhouse gas and it does warm the earth, but there's a question. He said, look, if you think global warming is a problem, you have to have three things. Is it coming from is it primarily man-made? Is man influencing the climate, and by how much? And what are the implications of that? And and I forget what exactly the three questions were, but they were well thought out. And he actually got $1 million contract to do this analysis on global warming, and came up with the. Turns out that the guy from MIT that was the one guy who was the skeptic that I used to think was kind of. Not with it. Do you know who I'm talking about? A famous MIT guy, famous MIT professor. He was the only guy at MIT who didn't believe in climate. He says he's the guy who's actually right about it. It turns out that climate science is not as easy as it looks. And so I asked him about, so what do you think of Jim Hansen? Because I always respected Jim Hansen. He said, no, he's got it wrong. And so it's a really interesting discussion. And so the one thing that this did for me is when it opened my eyes to questioning the vaccines and safety and the COVID vaccines and so forth, it's basically opened the door for me to be able to question my beliefs in really anything else that I believed in, including global warming, which, prior to this, if you had asked me about global warming, I would have said, hey, it's really important that we keep the emissions down, and believe the whole thing. And I saw the, Al Gore presentation and, whatnot. And I'm buying the whole thing hook, line, and sinker. But it's really, really important to hear the people on the other side and to give them a platform where you can hear the two sides debate. And, we've never seen that before, right? And Jimmy, have you seen a debate between, sort of the pro and the con side on global warming with people who really know their stuff? Because it's really quite amazing. This El Gato Malo guy, there are a lot of people who follow him, including me. He's a smart dude. And so the fact that he is saying, hey, not so fast, you should check this out. And I didn't take notes on our discussion, but I was definitely moved, in the same way that I was moved off of the vaccines are safe and effective. So I'd be careful on that one. I think that we need to make sure that we don't make the same mistake for other things. It's like fluoridated drinking water, right? We were all brought up to believe that fluoride in the drinking water is going to reduce cavities. And it turns out it's a really, really bad thing. And it's really, really hard for people to filter it out. You have to have a reverse osmosis filter. Pretty much. Some of these other filters do not work as well and get contaminated pretty quickly. But fluoride there is some evidence that if you rinse with fluoride, that you can reduce cavities. But it's really more dental hygiene, which is the big thing that caused cavities to be reduced. And so fluoride, if you drink it, there is no benefit to, lowering your cavities. So why are you putting it in the water? You should just use fluoride in a mouthwash. But we put it in the water, and it seems like it's impossible to reverse. So these things that we take for granted as, oh, these are good things, we should be going and using this as a lesson to go back and really make sure that we're hearing from parties who are experts on both sides of the argument before we make important decisions like this. And I wish politicians would do that, anytime they make a decision, is to really listen carefully. And what happens now is totally the opposite, Jimmy. When I try to go and I try to talk to Anna Eshoo, they won't return my phone call. All my emails are ignored. The staff ignores me. I can't even get a response from the scheduler. I point out, hey, there's this corruption happening at the CDC. People are dying. And it's like, hey, we don't care. We're not going to listen to you. Click, hang up. I mean, it is so bad. It's really important that people listen to the people on the other side and try to resolve it, because if they're legitimate people, they have a point of view, and let's make sure that you've listened to them and have worked through the issues. And we should be settling these issues as adults and talking about our differences and trying to resolve them through dialogue.
Well,
not censorship.
Here's what Carl Sagan had to say about this, was exact topic.
Science is more than a body of knowledge. It's a way of thinking, a way of skeptically interrogating the universe with a fine understanding of human fallibility. If we are not able to ask skeptical questions, to interrogate those who tell us that something is true, to be skeptical of those in authority, then we're up for grabs for the next charlatan, political or religious, who comes ambling along. It's a thing that Jefferson lay great stress on. It wasn't enough, he said, to enshrine some rights in a constitution or a Bill of Rights. The people had to be educated, and they had to practice their skepticism and their education. Otherwise, we don't run the government. The government runs us.
So,
great clip.
So
absolutely,
that's the kind of thing I'd like everybody, Neil deGrasse Tyson, to listen to, my ex-friend Josh Olson to listen to, and the MIT professor you were talking about,
Lindzen.
who's
Richard
questioning
Lindzen.
Richard Lindzen. My crack staff got that for me, so I was very proud of that.
Yeah. Hey,
So-
I got it. Yeah, same time.
So now I just can't wait to see how my haters are going to clip this video to make it look like I was questioning climate change instead of saying that the lies we've been told by COVID is going to make people question it. So anyway, Steve Kirsch, I really appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you sticking your chin out and getting it kicked in. But, the world needs people like you. Thanks for having that kind of courage. And anything that you'd like to, where can people find you? What are you working on?
Yeah, they can find me on Substack, and they can follow me on Twitter. I got killed twice on Twitter.
Mhm.
They actually, how many people do you know who got 2 lifetime bans on Twitter? They gave me a lifetime ban, and then they reincarnated me, and then they banned me a second time, lifetime ban, after doing that. I mean, I'm the only guy I know who's got 2 lifetime bans. So when they brought me back, it took a while to bring me back because I was double killed, right? So, Malone got back pretty quickly, and
This is a woman named Christia Freeland, and she was. Now this is from. Was this from Davos? Where did we get this? It's from she's speaking at the WEF.
Oh yeah, play.
World Economic Forum I like this. World Economic Forum hemorrhoid Christia Freeland. Hey, by the way, Christia. First of all, great name. Sounds like a bacterial infection. I got you. Do you have Christia?
I have cystic Christia.
You have cystic Christia? Have you tried Lotrimin? How about some Gynolotrimin? Have you tried Christia for Lotrimin? So here, listen to this. By the way, she's the Deputy Prime Minister of Canada, eh?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, this should be. I already watched it, but it really upsets me.
And this is what he said when I talked to him about what's going on in the American middle class. We demand a higher paycheck than the rest of the world. So if you're going to demand 10 times the paycheck, you need to deliver 10 times the value. It sounds harsh, but maybe people in the middle class need to decide to take a pay cut. Again, not untrue if you're looking at the dynamics of the global economy, but politically and socially, a very difficult thing.
She said not untrue?
Yeah, not as difficult as dipping into the top part of the.
So she's saying
it's a harsh
because
truth.
now neoliberal capitalism has gone to every part of the globe and exploited every poor people. Even the poor people are now getting together to raise their own wages, and so now what they want to do is lower everybody's wages at once.
Right. If you got to remain competitive.
So not raise their wages.
Right.
Obviously, because that could cost the top 1%, maybe 2% of their 90% of the world's wealth. And that's basically communism, Kurt.
Yeah. If you think globally.
Actually, I take it back. The name Christia sounds like a prescription drug that helps numb feelings about wealth inequality. What about the people who get paid 160 times more than the rest of the world? What about them? The middle class is making too much money, she's saying. But what about the 160 fucking people who run everything? There's 2 people who have more wealth than like 50% of the world.
Yeah.
What value do they add exactly, Christia, besides giving their kids great names like Christia? By the way, warning, a small percentage of patients treated with Christia may encounter minor side effects, such as swab face, constant queefing, shit livery, elevated tweet pressure, authoritinitis, legible Epstein flight listings, and Larry Summers balls. If you experience one or more of these symptoms, immediately ask for more censorship.
I think I suffer from shit lib.
Let me play that again.
And this is what he said when I talked to him about what's going on in the American middle class. We demand a higher paycheck than the rest of the world. So if you're going to demand 10 times the paycheck, you need to deliver 10 times the value.
And then, by the way, I don't know if that's true, if the American middle class demands 10 times the paycheck. But
Of the
I know
poorest countries.
right, but I know that we don't get health care in America. We all have to pay for that out of our pocket.
Right.
And that's we pay double that
We
the
don't
rest
get 10 times the value.
That's right. And
Yeah.
for the we pay twice as much for healthcare as the rest of the world and get worse healthcare for it. So that costs a lot. And plus we let foreign investments in our country. That's why real estate in Los Angeles and New York is 10 times what it should be, because Chinese billionaires buy up all the property and it sits empty and it artificially raises prices. And why is that? That's because local developers control city councils.
It's called adding value, Jimmy.
Well, what does she think about how much the CEOs have skyrocketed?
That's exactly what I said.
Well,
This is 1,460% since 1978.
Wow, I was way off of my 160 times.
That's Economic
That's
Policy
way off.
Institute, by the way.
And this is what he said when I talked to him about what's going on in the American middle class. We demand a higher paycheck than the rest of the world. So if you're going to demand 10 times the paycheck, you need to deliver 10 times the value. It sounds harsh, but maybe people in the middle class need to decide to take a pay cut.
Who said this to her?
I don't know who that is she's talking about. I'm going to guess Justin Trudeau.
I guess, yeah.
Again, not untrue. If you're
Again, not untrue. Not untrue that the middle class has to take a pay cut.
Again, I don't know why the Deputy Prime Minister of Canada is allowed to speak anyway.
Again.
I shouldn't know her name.
Again, she's going to use international economics as a weapon.
No, that's New Zealand.
No, that's New Zealand.
Wait, is it Christia or Chistia?
Is it Chistia?
Look at that.
I've always heard it pronounced Kistia. Maybe it's Kistia.
Did somebody just misspell?
What do they say in the chat? How to
I'll bet
pronounce?
it's Chistia.
Get one of those maple leafs. Ask them.
Mm-hmm.
My God. No, it's not a medicine. That
Again. But she says again, not. Hey, let's hear what she says.
Again, not untrue.
Not untrue. The middle class does have to take a pay cut, but
if you're looking at the dynamics of the global economy, but politically and socially, a very difficult.
But it's gonna be tough for us to impose this on most of the people.
Yeah, we only vote in
That's
the
what she
local
means.
thing, not the global economy. I don't know if you know this. It's kind of weird to have everybody under this.
The gap between productivity and typical workers' compensation has increased dramatically since 1979. The gap. So what I like to say is workers haven't had a raise since 1980, because I think I heard Michael Parente say that once about how wages haven't caught up. So usually before 1980, which is when Ronald Reagan got it, that when productivity went up, wages went up. So the people who generated the profits got to share in the greater profits.
Right.
That's not anymore. See where it stopped?
Yeah, the wage thigh gap happened, and now they're not rubbing together and chafing like they were.
So there it is, right? So I was right, 1980. So it used to be very closely correlated when production went up.
Is that when we started shipping it out to other places where they don't get paid?
That is right.
Oh.
So they put a tax incentive for corporations to offshore American jobs. Not only did you get to ruin Americans cut the legs off from underneath labor in America and ship good paying jobs, turn them into shitty paying jobs, and then ship them to China. But you also got a tax break to do so.
It's sunrise in America.
You can't. Yeah, that was what Ronald Reagan called sunrise in America. And then right up until see that, and then boom. So workers kept making more productivity, but they didn't.
Wow, make America gape again.
Right, and when people tell you we don't need unions, that's a proof you do.
Well, that line right there, who I choose to ally with, we don't need them.
That's right.
The important people that will take 10 times more. Thank you.
All this tells me is if you pay them less, they're going to work harder. Am I right? Am I right? That's day one of class at Prager University.
You went to PragerU?
PragerU online? Sure. Dave Rubin got me a discount.
You graduate, they give you a cigar. So here's the other interviews where they got cigars, like a couple of bloated plutocrats.
Anyway, here we go. Wages for the top 1% skyrocketed 160% since 1979, while the share of wages for the bottom 90% shrunk. Well, that just means it's working. The top 1% of Americans have taken $50 trillion from the bottom 90%, and that's made the U.S. less secure. Really? That's weird. I thought we just funded entire new departments of police. Plus, we're fighting Russia over there, so we don't have to fight them over here. What's not secure?
Yeah, it sounds like we got it tied right up.
How can we be? We're super secure. Hey, the top 1% officially have more money than the whole middle class. But the middle class need to take a pay cut, Kurt. You know that.
Yeah.
Wait, is that him? Is he the 1%?
That's the guy.
The top 1% is that guy? And he has more money than the bottom 90? If that's true, shouldn't he have a better haircut?
Yeah, it looks like he works there and snuck onto the croquet course. And he looks like he's posing as a rich guy to impress these chicks.
That's exactly what he looks like. Central casting, a rich douchebag looking guy.
Yeah, and Rodney Dangerfield comes in at some point.
Maybe that was a guy. He was an adjunct professor at Trump University. That's who that guy was. Congress approved $113 billion of aid to Ukraine.
Well, I'd like to see a Ukraine productivity and money scale, huh?
The CARES Act sent you a $1,200 check, but gave millionaires and billionaires far more. What? You don't want to reward success?
It's why we gave Zelensky an Oscar.
Jesus Christ. Okay, well, I think Chlamydia Freeland is right. I think. So guess what? They're coming for, just like George Carlin said, they're coming for your Social Security. They claim that people want to work longer. That's what they claim.
I think not with the threat of being homelessness above their head, though. Maybe there might be a difference between.
So there's a Republican representative. His name is Rick Allen of Georgia. He suggested last week that he would support raising the Social Security retirement age, a policy change that would slash benefits across the board, because people have approached him and said they actually want to work longer.
How many people?
Confronted by an advocate in the Capitol building and asked how the GOP plans to cut Social Security, the congressman responded, "We're not going to cut Social Security."
Oh, what are they doing?
You were going to trim it?
Yeah, what?
But seconds later, Allen contradicted himself by expressing support for raising the retirement age, saying the move would solve every one of these problems, not specifying what the problems are from his perspective. Republican Congressman Rick Allen wants to cut Social Security by raising the retirement age because people want to work more. Do you think Rick Allen has ever talked to a person with a real job?
Yeah, who did he talk to? I'm dying to know.
That's what I want to know, too.
You there at the newspaper kiosk.
Retirement. You know, that's interesting that you asked that question. People come up to me, they actually want to work longer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's on the table, you're saying?
Well, you know, if people want to work longer, maybe you need to give them an incentive to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Like a raise?
If people want to work longer, you need to give them an incentive to do it.
Overtime?
Why do you need to give them an incentive to do something that they want to do already? You have to give them an incentive to do something that they're not inclined to do, but you're saying that they already want to do it, so we need to give them an incentive to do it. That's contradictory.
I think it's an incentive to keep wanting.
Okay, here we go.
Solve every one of these problems, by the way.
I know.
And actually, grow wealth at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
You just take that right there.
My daddy's a well farmer.
It takes that right there. So you just
that easy.
That's it. You just take away people's Social Security. That's how you grow wealth.
Oh my goodness. I have to see a Scott Adams chart to understand how this works.
You know what I want? I want a 67-year-old fireman.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Yeah, well, if he wants to do it, and why wouldn't he?
Don't you like it when there's a 67-year-old waitress or a 67-year-old? Allen is a member of the Republican Study Committee, a House GOP panel that released a policy agenda last year calling for gradually raising the full retirement age from 67 to 70, partially privatizing the New Deal program, and mean testing benefits.
Ooh, New Deal advantage.
Matt Bruning of the People's Policy Project, a left-wing think tank, has explained raising the Social Security retirement age is just a straightforward benefit reduction being expressed in an opaque way. Good thing they went to an expert for that. What the fuck? You had to go to a think tank? What the fuck? Social Security does not have one retirement age. It has 96 retirement ages, one for each month between the ages of 62 and 70, Bruning wrote. Now, that's good. What people call the full retirement age is just a placeholder in a formula that determines the benefit level at all 96 retirement ages. Now, that's some good information.
That's some good think tanking.
That's some good think tanking right there. When someone proposes increasing the retirement age to 68, all they are really proposing is to cut monthly Social Security benefits by around 7% at all 96 retirement ages. A proposal to raise the retirement age to 70 is just a proposal to cut monthly benefits by around 23% at all 96 retirement ages. That's very well put, Matt. The Trump to GOP, don't touch Medicare or Social Security in debt ceiling fight. So even Trump's against it.
Well, I hope he never comes back then.
Bernie Sanders said, even a broken clock is right twice a day. While I agree with Trump on virtually nothing, he is right to say under no circumstances should Republicans vote to cut a single penny from Medicare or Social Security. Let's raise taxes on billionaires. Remember, it's funny how he doesn't say millionaires anymore.
No, I know. I think millionaires need to make 10 times less, buddy, if you want to.
Yeah, buddy. Tell that to your friend Joe frickin' Biden. As you well know, he's always been keen to cut and privatize Social Security and Medicare.
Oh.
Paul Ryan was correct. When he did the tax code, what's the first thing he decided we had to go after? Social Security and Medicare. Now, we need to do something about Social Security and Medicare. That's the only way you can find room to pay for it. I don't.
Really, the only way?
I don't. He's a maniac. So there you go. GOP looking to cut. No, I think because Joe Biden wants to cut it too, and the people who fund the Democrats want to cut it. So I think this is part of the play. They're like, hey, we have the Republicans be the evil guys, and then the Democrats come in and they cut it just a little less.
Yeah, right.
Right, and we get to keep this thing going back and forth.
It's a standard corporate deal. You push things. There's outcry from the consumer. You walk it back up, but it's always a little bit moving over the line.
That's right.
Yeah.
Hey, we're doing live stand-up comedy in Los Angeles, Tempe, Arizona, Palm Springs. That's right. I got bad news if you are an American, and because the petrodollar is going away, which means that the United States dollar, which is the reserve currency of the world, is probably going to go away. What does that mean? That means our bad news for our economy, like really bad news, and they're doing it on purpose. Like, what if you would think the president of the United States would want to keep the petrodollar going, but what they're doing everything to break up that relationship. What is the petrodollar? The petrodollar is Saudi Arabia is the biggest exporter of oil in the world. So we made a deal with them back in the 70s that said you can use our military anywhere you want in the world, but what we'll charge you for that is you have to make sure whenever someone buys oil from you, they have to buy it in U.S. dollars. So that means anybody who bought Italy, whether it's Brazil, whether it's Africa, Australia, no matter Iceland, if they bought oil from Saudi Arabia, they had to first convert their currency into U.S. dollars, which meant that everybody around the world used the United States dollar as the reserve currency. So everybody trades with dollars. So that keeps our...
Plus, they buy other stuff because while you got the U.S. dollars,
That's
you
right.
might as well get all your stuff.
So
in
they
that.
do. That's what I'm saying. They use it for everything.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like the international trade currency.
Yeah.
It's the world reserve. So that's going to go away because what we're doing in Ukraine and other places and trying to force an economic hurt on Russia and China is forcing places like Saudi Arabia to abandon the petrodollar idea, which will hurt us a lot. Saudi prince snubbed Biden's request to discuss the oil crisis brought about by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Now, this is from March 9th of 2022. And then this is what happened. They're getting along. And then this happened. Saudi invites China's President Xi as relations with Washington remain soured. What? Hey, BRICS challenges the U.S. dollar dominance. Saudi considers selling oil in other currencies, new multipolar economic order. So this is the kind of crazy stuff people thought Trump would do. And of course, it's being done by Joe Biden and the Wall Street fossil fuel puppets. So Trump didn't do this. Trump didn't wreck everything for the United States. It's Joe Biden and the Democrats that are doing this, and the deep state. That's what they're doing. And they're doing it right out in the open, and no one seems to care. By the way, this photo explains more about the Ukraine war than 1 million Ukraine flag tweets combined. Right? So there's the president of Brazil, president of Russia, president of China. I don't know who this is. Let's see. I don't know who that is either. But those... So
South Africa?
It's called BRICS. The international economic system had been dominated for decades by the United States. But this financial architecture is rapidly fracturing with the creation of new institutions in the global south. The BRICS bloc of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa is working to develop a fairer system of monetary exchange to challenge the dominance of the U.S. dollar. Saudi Arabia publicly confirmed that it is considering selling its oil in other currencies. China's President Xi Jinping said Beijing will buy energy from the Persian Gulf states in its own currency, the renminbi.
Renminbi?
You know what? I looked it up 4 times today on how to say it. I thought I memorized it, and I didn't.
I thought they had the yuan or the yuan.
No, that is so. Renminbi, whatever that word is. That's what they're called. A yuan is like a denomination of their money.
Oh,
right.
It's called renminbi.
That's their monetary. That's their money is called that. And then the yuan, which is spelled Y-U-A-N, that's like a denomination of their money, right? So that's like a pound, right?
Okay.
Prominent economist Zoltan Pozar of the Swiss investment bank Credit Suisse has observed that the unipolar era of U.S. hegemony is quickly being replaced with a new multipolar order of one world, two systems. China is proactively writing a fresh set of rules and creating a new type of globalization, Posner wrote, describing how this transition threatens the exorbitant privilege that the dollar holds as the international reserve currency. South Africa's foreign minister, Naledi Pandor, told Russia's state media outlets, but
Hello? Wait, why did that warrant the little girl going, ah? Does stomped corn really frighten her that much? And okay, directing 101, it usually helps if you tell us the name of the place before you give us 5 minutes of a scene. It's like an alien suddenly saying...
Oh, God!
Houdini peed. I think he's sick.
Why don't you take him outside? I'll call Dr. Crawford.
He doesn't treat animals.
He'll know what to do.
Yeah, come on, dog anatomy is pretty close to human anatomy, right?
Oh, that was quick, Caroline. I only called you folks 2 hours ago.
Old Mrs. Kendallman twisted her ankle, as she puts it, diving for her life when a bunch of school kids rode down the sidewalk on skateboards. She went down to Thornton's store this morning and started spitting on the new skateboards. Spitting. By the time I got there, Mrs. Kendallman had sprayed the whole damn place.
Forgive me, what I'm doing is called Tarantinoing, where you talk about something that has nothing to do with the rest of the story, but is kind of funny and a little quirky. It was very avant-garde in its day and used to develop some strong character traits, but now it's just used as a cheap gimmick for pretentious screenwriters to draw a ton of attention to their writing style as opposed to serving the plot. By the way, I'm mostly pointless in this. I don't even draw my gun in this movie. Aliens attacking and I never draw my gun. That is ass shit. Meanwhile, his two kids find that their dog is acting a little funny.
Houdini?